Crazy. Are we good?
Man shirts, short skirts. Oh,
I'm ready. Pro tip, go on TripAdvisor and find someone who took the time to leave a negative review of McDonald's, Burger King, or whatever. Read the rest of the reviews.
Is that a real pro tip, or is that just one of those bullshit pro tips people put on Facebook to try to look smart?
I just saw that on Facebook right now, and I thought that was funny. So let's start that off from there. Who are you, sir? Who are you?
Welcome to the audio station. I'm your host, Luis Vasquez.
My real name?
Yep, still his
By
real
law.
name.
Yep.
And
That's me.
we're here bringing the life behind music to light. Very
trying.
excited about today's episode. It's Friday, not our usual Thursdays, but we're killing it. Today's been...
I know it's Thursday. Normally it's I feel like, then again, every day just blends into one another. So if you were to tell me it's Thursday, I'd tell you you're lying anyways. But the fact that it's a Friday night right now, that's fucking huge.
I'm loving this Friday night. It's a little hot. It's getting really hot in Toronto lately. I'm really starting to wish I was living somewhere else, but I love the city, goddamn.
I mean, I love this city, but at the same time, fuck off for just a few minutes.
Yeah.
Just leave me alone. I just want to curl up in a ball and lay down on my couch and not have to put on my air conditioning and give my money to Hydro One.
I think we all feel the same. We're paying way too much money for this hydro. I'm still breaking a sweat. What's going on?
Just drink more. That's it. Just drink more. That's all I got to say.
That's true Canadian advice for you. This week we got Silverstein, Zed's Dead, Kesha, Macklemore, Lauryn Hill, Janelle Monáe, Odie,
Fucking
the
Janelle
Eagles,
Monáe, though, so good.
Weezer, the Pixies, Radiohead, Japanese. It's a week full of amazing music.
And Warp Tour.
And Warp Tour. I was saving the best for last. Thank you. Thank you.
I mean, it's great. I've only ever been to one Warp Tour ever, and that was in Detroit, Michigan. Actually,
Really?
And this may be poor form, and then people may not respect my opinion much anymore. But I've never been to a Toronto Warp Tour. I've only been to a Detroit Warp Tour.
I went one time. I was, I think, 16. I went with a bunch of high school friends. Drunk as... I think that was probably the first time I got hammered. Really just crazy hammered to the point I can't remember most of the night.
Good for you.
Yeah, it's one of those breakthrough experiences. A lot of...
Changed everything for you?
We have to go through that, whether it be your first blowjob in the stalls or whatever it is.
We're not getting into
tour.
that today, are we? All right, so Warp Tour.
Well, yeah. Warp Tour is quite a show, but yeah, I had a crazy experience over there.
It is what it is. Let me hear about it.
16 years ago, I guess 8 years now. I wish I could tell you more. If it was even documented a little bit, would have been nice. But it's mostly just a lot of terrible decisions and a lot of blackout.
Sounds like Warp Tour. Go on, keep going.
Yeah.
keep going. I'm still there.
Oh man, I can't even remember. Honestly, it'd just be a shame to try to even bring all of that up.
Let it all out, bud. Let's get emotional.
I don't
right
think
now.
we
Let's
have
talk
enough
about
time,
this.
or I don't know if I have enough emotional fucking currency left today.
We have all the time. We just started. Let's go. We just started. Please, Lou. Let me ask you. You're going to be my first interview today, Lou. What happened? What happened at Warp Tour? Please go into detail.
Oh, I can remember at least the first thing that we were gonna do. I think Protest was playing that day, and I was the most excited for that.
Was this is just after the Kezia album? I assume?
It was the year after, so 2009,
I played.
I guess.
I personally played their Kezia album release. And that at the Cathedral, and that show was
really
with it was Crime and Stereo.
Say word.
Yeah, so it was Protest, Crime and Stereo, and then my band Numbers Revolt, which at the time that was our band's last show, was the Protest, the Hero show, and that show sold out.
Eh?
It was fucking insane, and one of the best shows that I ever played. But
shout out to Protest the Hero for always throwing the greatest, just killer shows. I've seen them twice now, and both times I went, were ridiculous. Just crazy stage diving, crowd surfing, the moshes were all great, hardcore, but still everybody helps each other. You're not trying to kill
and that's
each
the thing.
other
That's
there.
the thing about Protest the Hero. Ajax, Ontario. So not Toronto, but still, we'll say GTA. Any time that I've had any kind of communication with those guys, I've had a couple different bands play different shows with Protest, and each time those dudes always came up to me and like other band members of mine and were like, dude, like, I loved your set, man. Like,
really,
and wanted to buy a CD. We wanted to buy merch, even if I didn't believe them at all. I'm like,
they still
you guys are
gave
just
you
trying to be nice. Like, but like the fact that, I've played shows with multiple other huge bands and like, no one, like some of them have not gone out and most of them don't go out of their way. But the fact every single time Protest the Hero, they've gone out of their way. They've always, made me feel like my band belonged on that show, whether we did or didn't. And like that's one of the things that I'll always like I will always have respect for Protest the Hero because of that. They've always made me feel welcome, whether I felt welcome or not. And
yeah,
I love that. I love that about them, and I will always support them. And and not even just them, but like they make amazing music.
They make
their
crazy
fucking
music.
albums are.
Yeah, Tim is a ridiculous
Absolute
guitarist.
perfection.
Rhodey just does some insane vocals.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to like be on stage with him for a second. I was like, I had my hands around Rhodey like this,
You touched him? Oh my god!
right before crowd
there.
surfing. It was insane. It was at the Mod Club. It was the 10-year anniversary of Kazaya. So that was,
I did the 0-year anniversary.
that was some crazy
So
shit.
like
I think it was the
Are we
last.
bonding right now?
It was the last show where Arif. We definitely are.
Yeah.
We definitely are. It was the last show where Arif.
Arif's the bassist, right?
That's right. It was the last show that he played with them
That dude was the nicest
2 years
to me.
ago. He is a
That guy,
phenomenal
like,
bassist, humble guy.
When he came up and he talked to me, I was like, and like we had like a quick conversation. I was like, you're making me feel like we're best friends right now. Like he's just like honestly,
He's
like
down
shout
to
out.
earth, eh?
That dude is the nicest dude.
Yeah.
That one of the like I've met a lot of nice, but one of the nicest, most welcoming dudes that I've met in my entire music career. And like we didn't talk about this beforehand, like, but this is natural, this is real. Like I need to give the shout out and props to him. Like he's a great dude and like an unbelievable musician.
Yeah, Whitby. So it's a band from Whitby. Like they're still.
Is it Whitby or Ajax? Let me go. I got my computer right here. I don't know what we're talking about.
Pretty sure it's Whitby.
I'll look it up.
But yeah, no, they still managed to stay humble even throughout their whole like when they were blowing up in Much Music and they're
Whitby,
getting
right? I said Ajax. I'm so sorry. I meant Whitby. I fucked up.
Yeah, but
Close enough though.
Canada.
They're from Canada.
They're
Same shit.
Canadians. They're all the same. Wait a second. That's us.
Ontario.
Oh shit.
Yeah. well, whatever.
Yeah, but yeah.
So tell me about your ashamed Warped Tour story. I cut you off like 3 or 4 times. Go on.
All that's left, man, is just broken memories and a lot of bad decisions. I can't even tell you how much I pushed those memories away.
I think you just summed up my entire life.
Oh, well, that's a little deep.
Dad?
Just broken memories. Yeah,
So
yeah.
As I was saying, the only time that I ever went to ever went to Warped Tour, unfortunately, like I don't know how people are gonna think. They're probably, what a fucking loser, blah blah blah. But like anytime anyone's like gravitated, like a group of people have gravitated towards something, I've always felt like I was like, people gravitate, I'm gonna do the exact opposite.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things in terms of that. So like a Warped Tour was like a whole thing where like everybody I knew was going to Warped Tour. So I was just like, I'm gonna stay at home and pet my dog.
Because fuck the system.
Right? Yeah. No, I mean it has nothing to do with fuck the system, and like I've never thought about it that way.
It
It's
has
just
a
been,
little
like,
bit to do with fuck the system.
No, it's just something
let's
that
be
like
honest.
naturally that I've done. I've always never been like, even though I've been in a band, like touring band, done shows like sorry, I'm drunk. In front of people and all of that. Like even though like I'll go in front of a show in front of 500-600 kids and play a show. I've always been like the kind of guy to avoid a large crowd, avoid like running into multiple people that
Most
I know.
creatives
and that's
are
more,
that
more
way.
or less like a mental thing that we can get into later.
Oh yeah.
But so the one time I did go to a Warped Tour, it was in Detroit, Michigan, where my friends in Misery Signals came in and they invited me out after I was doing a roadie merch guy kind of.
What is that? 6-hour drive from here, Toronto?
Well, when you rent a PT Cruiser and fucking gun it, it's about 5. It's about 4.5, 5.
Not with today's traffic.
But when you have a PT Cruiser, you can kind of do whatever the fuck you want. So it took us about 4.5, 5 hours.
Fair
we went
enough.
down. We went to the show. And after going to the will call and getting our tickets and finally getting into the show, I literally walked into the band that invited me to go down and see them. It's like, running out like, oh, they're playing at this stage, they're playing at this time. Like ran to that stage, and then I heard, all right, thank you to try, take care, have a good night.
Oh,
that's all I fucking saw from them. But I didn't tell them that. I told them, I was like, dude, you guys played fucking great. I was amazed. I was so into it, man. The crowd was fucking crazy. I didn't see shit. Yeah. I lied through my fucking teeth to make them feel better about themselves. But then again, on the inside, I felt like a total piece of shit because I was like,
we've all been there.
like they got their their guest list and they wasted that on me, and I felt bad. But
yeah,
I wanted to tell them that they didn't waste it, so we. I was like, you guys need some food? You want some drinks? So they try to butter them up in other ways without telling them mentally that I hate myself and I missed their set because the border took like a fucking hour and a half.
Oh man, yeah, that border.
When you're in the PT Cruiser and going to the border, you're getting stopped. They're ripping out your.
It's
fucking
almost the
seats.
Rule, I think.
Yeah, it's like.
Yo, there's actually a lot of shows that I've been to, festivals, not shows, that have had problems with some bands not making it onto the bill because they've been held up at the border, and I've always thought that's dumb. That's just the silliest reason to not make a show, especially I don't want to get too into it because there's a lot of emotional and political background to this conversation, but whatever's going on at the borders. That shit's got to be improved. On to a lighter note, Radiohead is playing the ACC, now the Scotiabank Center.
Scotiabank Arena. Correct yourself. Yes.
Hey, listen, Center, Arena.
It just changed, yes, July 1st. I believe it's called the Jonathan Tavares Center, but we'll talk about that another day.
That's getting a little ahead of yourself. I know. He just joined, bro.
I know.
Give him some time.
I'll give him as much time as he needs. I'll give him all the amount of time.
Give him some air, he just got into the city.
But, I mean...
July 19, July 20, Scotiabank Arena.
Thank you very much for the clarification.
And Radiohead, check them out. They're just fucking phenomenal.
If you don't know Radiohead and you're watching our podcast right now and you're finding out who Radiohead
Turn it off.
You're fucked. Go home. Turn it off.
Go watch Radiohead.
You're done. You don't know what you're talking about. Stop it.
That actually brings a thought to my head. I've begun to realize that now with the newer generation coming in, being just generally 15 to 18 that are checking out the whole online music scene, a lot of them were born in 2003 and around that era. A lot of new people that are just generally well knowledge on music don't know a lot of these classics. So, I try to push what I think are really good quality classics in this in whatever I say, because I try not to underestimate the whole idea that a lot of these things phase out over time if you don't talk about them.
I was at work. For those who don't know, I work at a bar, and a Smashing Pumpkins song, Zero, it came on. And then, hype track. Probably it's my favorite track by them. But then somebody was like, oh yeah, do you know this band? I'm like... Do I know what Coors Light is? What the fuck are you asking me right? Of course I know who Smashing Pumpkins is. That's what I was saying about the whole Radiohead thing. It's what the fuck? I don't know how,
It's weird.
I don't, yeah.
It's really weird. I've had more instances where I've ran into people not knowing who Pink Floyd were that I'd like to admit. But, 19, 20-year-olds, they don't care. They don't care. They don't care.
I'm almost glad that I'm old and deteriorating now.
They don't care, bro.
I don't care. I don't care about myself either, so it's fine.
So you can relate.
I can relate. So I guess speaking about Warped Tour and all of that, I guess it's a decent. Let me know if I'm wrong. A decent enough time to bring out our next guest, who is going to be performing at the Toronto Warped Tour next week. Toronto band Cold Shoulder.
Yeah, let's bring them out.
Do you want to bring them out? Do you feel like it? Are you in the mood?
Let's do it.
All right, I think we should do that. All right, cool.
Here is Cold Shoulder.
I'm gonna bring them out right now.
That's it. And we're back with Cold Shoulder. We have Ryan and Adam.
Introduce yourselves, boys.
Yeah, please do.
I'm Ryan, play bass in the show. My name's Adam, play drums.
Like, this is the thing that I love about this specific interview is most of the time it's always the singer and guitar player that's getting all the fucking cred.
Yeah, I
But
know.
this
We
time
have
we got
the rhythm
bassist
section today.
and we got the drummer, and I'm so fucking excited about
Yo,
it. To
they
get
wish they
like
could've been
the way
here.
that you think, like you guys think differently, right? You guys are carrying the music, and like no one thinks about you guys. No, I'm not saying no one thinks about you guys. I know you have family that loves and cares about you, and all that. But I mean,
the skeleton of the band,
Right,
right?
like,
Nobody
you're the
sees it,
backbone
but it
of the
holds
band.
everything up.
right? If you don't, if like that's the thing, like if you have a shitty drummer, your band's fucked from the start. So
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, like you gotta know what you're doing.
You guys hold it down.
Well,
Right.
you know what? We got to give them credit considering how much they write musically and as much as they contribute to our band. So
Oh, yeah.
it's kind of funny that
I'm
like
not saying
It's
that.
funny that it's
I'm not
us.
saying
they
that they
do
don't.
so much.
No
Yeah,
problem.
You know what I
they
mean?
do.
I was just trying to look like outside the box and see,
Yeah.
like trying to think about this from like a different way. But like,
Let's-
I
I
mean,
love
the
the
fact that
optimism.
you're still
Or maybe
giving
that's
them
not the right
cred
word.
when they're not even here, I like that. Like that shows
I
what kind of
can't take
people
that.
that you
I
are.
can't take that. We can't take that.
Yeah,
credit
those are our
from them.
boys, man. We love those
They do.
guys.
I'm
man.
not saying I don't.
I'm playing you dirty,
we
dude.
gonna
I'm
have a
sorry.
problem
I'm
here?
playing you dirty, dude. I'm sorry.
I get it. It's
Let's.
all good.
I wanted to introduce our audience a little bit to your music. It's a 4-piece hardcore metal band. Yeah, tell us a little bit more about like who you guys are. Actually, let me introduce them a little bit before you guys tell us a little bit about you guys. As far as I know, you got 3 projects up on Bandcamp. You can find them as Cold Shoulder on Bandcamp. You guys released a 4-song EP in 2016.
Yep.
It was called TOHC.
Yeah,
Yep.
first
That
thing.
was some hardcore shit.
Yeah, dude.
been-
Thank you, man. Dude, that was the first thing that we ever put out, and I'm really glad how that all turned out.
Yeah,
man.
it was
I was
good.
really happy with
And
it.
that was only 2 years ago.
Yeah, that's what I mean, man, dude. It was great. We went all the way down to California, recorded that with like one of our buddies, man, and
Down
it
south,
turned
that's
out,
sick.
yeah, dude, it turned out great, and it was crazy because it was our first time. Like, we didn't really even play a show. We're just like, yo, we're gonna
We
go.
barely knew each other.
Yeah.
Like, I knew
You
Ryan,
just
but
went-
We're gonna
that
go
was it.
You all
record in
met each other,
California.
drove
that-
down
was
to
that the album
California and
where
recorded,
I met up
eh?
with you guys in
Yeah.
California,
Nice.
and
No.
is the second
This-
one.
It was the second one.
Yeah.
We
Okay.
recorded in California twice.
Okay, so you did. So the first time, was it the same guy that you're recording with?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was if I recall correctly, it was the drummer of Terror.
Yeah, Nick.
Wow,
Yeah,
nice.
Nick's
Yeah, like that
Yeah, he does
was-
a lot of producing. He did some backtrack records and he does
Bent Life.
Bent Life. He does a lot of producing and engineering. He does really good stuff.
No, I
dude,
just wanted to
he's
clarify if that was the same one where I
Yep.
where I met up with you guys in Los Angeles there.
Yep.
But sorry, Luke, continue about their discography there.
No, yeah, and then you guys kept up the momentum and came out with a full album in 2017, Self War,
Yep.
in August.
Yeah.
A full 10-song album.
Songs, yeah, dude. We went to the studio with like, I think we had like 16,
Yeah, probably.
18, something like that. Yeah, honestly, when we recorded that album,
18,
like, same dude that did it, Nick, and he is a great producer, man. He narrowed down the songs that like he thought were best. This is what I think you guys should do. This is what I think you guys should.
Was
take
this in
out.
Canada or down in LA
We did it all in
also?
LA, yeah.
LA,
We sent
eh?
him some demos and,
Yeah.
and voice
Wh-
notes.
Nick, what's his last name? Who's this Nick character?
Nick Jett, he plays drums and Terror, like exactly who. And
Yeah,
he-
he
Sing-
did a good job, guys.
Oh, dude, thank you, man. Yeah, dude, he killed
Kind
it.
of a big deal.
I couldn't say anything,
Don't
bad about it.
You also came out with a video for that, Dead Weight. I love that.
Yeah, cool.
It was
Our good
like
friend
a,
Dylan Gould did that video. He does.
It's like live
great
footage
stuff,
and like
yeah.
like all edited, pretty cool. Like
Yeah.
that was awesome.
Dylan
Yeah.
Gould's the man. Yeah, we did another video for that same album. It was like Brain Dead. Alex shot that
Yep.
in Trenches.
And Mob, I guess, technically.
Yeah, he did Mob 2 for that same album. Yeah, we have some good people around us. They're
Yeah.
Yeah,
hooking us
good
up.
production
That's-
team,
for
eh?
sure, for
You
sure.
surround yourself with good people, and good things happen.
Yeah, good
right?
team.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
know,
That's
and now I
essential.
know why we're all friends. So.
Exactly, buddy. You get it.
If any way I can boost myself up and make myself feel better, then yes.
Oh,
please
buddy,
do
come
We're
on.
your
now.
friend,
We
Andy.
love you, man. We love
Yeah,
you,
thank you
dude.
so much.
Now
And then
give
you
me some
guys
chicken
didn't
tenders.
slow down after
Chicken
that. You kept
tenders
on
is
going
unique
all the
again.
way till May, doing another EP. That one was called Backlash.
Yep.
Oh yeah, dude. That's probably. I I don't want to say our best, but that's the one I'm
I will.
most stoked off
I
of.
will.
You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean?
I
You guys
agree.
had
Just
some
'cause
sick breakdowns in
Punches
that.
me
Thank
in
you,
the
dude.
fucking face. That EP is so goddamn heavy.
Yeah, Blistered is like
Oh
probably my favorite
God.
on
Oh,
that.
dude, yeah, it's the good stuff. Honestly, we got to give a huge shout out to Jeff, our guitar player, for
Yeah.
he put a lot of that together, and it's just from us like playing around so much for like the last 2 years, and we really like seeing how crowds reacted to us, and we seen the things that they really liked, and then he was like, you know what, like let's put a fucking album together that gets these kids hype, right?
Nice.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah, that's a real
He-
good inspiration.
dude, he's the masterpiece behind Backlash. Honestly, he's the man.
He is.
So you're talking about audiences. What do you think was
Musically.
your favorite audience in like Ontario? Speaking just of Canada.
London,
all
I'd
around.
say.
I'd say
I fucking
London.
love
London
London,
for
eh?
sure. For
Jameson
City
Berry,
Hardcore.
yeah, fucking
What was
summer
the
camp
venue?
production. We always play at Rum Runners,
Runners, yeah.
but I think something's happening with his little venue there.
We're there. It's under construction, but we're playing actually in 2 weeks or a week and a half at
It's a house
Foam
show.
Dome
Yeah, it's a house
Okay.
show.
in London. London is
Nice.
You know what?
It's 2
Ontario
hours
is
away, but from
Can I be
Toronto.
invited to
But
that?
it's,
I heard the word
it's
foam
lively
dome
for
and like
sure.
I'm all in. Just
Yeah.
like,
Oh,
can you
dude.
bring me with you, please? That sounds like a lot of fun.
You both can come. Everyone can come. Let's do it.
I'm
Let's
all,
do it.
I'm
Let's
all in,
do
buddy.
it, boys.
Foam
I'm
dome,
down.
or let's do
Foam
this.
Dome, house
This is
show.
gonna be fucking
I was
sweet.
I was there earlier today, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, earlier
London?
today I was down working in London. Yeah,
Oh, really?
London, Ontario.
Oh, I thought he was at the Foam Dome. I was tripping. I was like, what the fuck?
You know where I was? No, you know where I was? I was at that Best Western. I don't know if you've ever been, but there's like a crazy waterfall and a pool and like palm trees indoors and this crazy glass.
that's in
honestly,
London?
man, hotels are on our bucket list for being in a band.
Yeah,
You,
so.
you gotta get on that, right?
Hotels in London on tour.
Oh, that'd be nice.
It's coming.
You gotta lie. You gotta lie. That's what I've learned in terms of staying at hotels on tour.
Oh yeah,
Just roll in and
You
sleep in the
find
fucking...
you drive in like just
hallway
take
or something?
it's like
you
yeah.
rolling like
It's
hot
like playing
shit,
roulette.
or
You just go and like you go up to a different hotel room and just like, hey, you know, like we're in a band, blah blah blah, and like try to get that concierge at
Yeah,
like.
we save all that for Chipotle and stuff. Don't worry
No,
about
no,
that.
no, no. You find
Oh, wait.
you go
You know what? We don't go to Chipotle.
They
Fuck
don't-
all you other bands out there, motherfucker.
You just go to different concierge and you're just like, we're in a band, like, you know, and you find the one with the biggest heart, and then you just take advantage.
Oh, dude.
That's
You gotta come on tour with us more, bro. You fit right
I
in.
do. I will teach you guys a thing or two. I will. I'll be more than happy to. Like, because you guys go on tour a lot, but like you guys go on tour more in the States than anywhere else.
Yep.
In terms of like why. Like why? Like
Yeah,
'cause I
what's the
noticed- 'cause,
biggest
If you go
difference?
through your show listings and all of that, you see like a lot of U.S. things, and even in your past, like why do you feel in terms of like with all due respect to the Canadian and Toronto and Ontario market
Oh,
and
yeah.
everything like that, like
Respect
you know,
where
and,
it's
like,
due.
and I understand like you know it's this isn't just a band, it's also a business, and like with you know. There's nothing fucking wrong with that whatsoever. I am all in on that. I'm like I support you. What different like what's the difference between the Canadian and the American, or if you want to get more specific,
Just the
American and
industry.
Toronto scenes?
Yeah.
You know what? It's hard to compare the two because they're both great in their own ways. I would say it's a larger market in America.
Oh, obviously, there's
way
about
more-
I
way-
don't know,
way
10
more
times
cities,
more amount
lot
of
more
fucking
people.
human beings there. Yeah.
Exactly. So you kind of have that like, you know, for a band from Ontario, you can reach out to, you know, cities in Ontario, Sarnia, Windsor, London, you know, Hamilton, maybe St. Catharines, Ottawa, you know, then you go to Quebec, you know, Montreal, Quebec City, and then
Big
you're kind
whoop,
of
what's
strapped, right? Whereas America, you can even just maybe doing a jaunt around Lake Erie, you know, down
It's
the Midwest or
huge.
something like that.
Yeah.
You can hit
Chicago, Detroit.
you can
go
hit
all
way more
over.
cities. So I'd say the market is much bigger.
It
Being
makes more sense to tour on, you know.
You guys are
Yeah,
killing
for
it
sure.
in the U.S.
When you
though.
drive.
Like you guys are doing a good
Thanks, man.
job in the U.S. From all the live footage that I've seen, it's like it's night and day. And like
Oh.
that's one of the things like one of the things I wanted to talk to you about is like, you know, it seems like it's night and day. Like what makes the U.S. scene so much different? And like let's say if we're just gonna pick a fucking city, we're just gonna go like Columbus, Ohio, compared to St. Catharines, Ontario.
Yeah,
What's
that'd
the
be
biggest
really
fucking
different.
difference?
yeah.
What's the difference here? What makes that show better than this show? And I'm not knocking Ontario.
We're not versed in St.
I'm
Catharines.
not knocking St. I'm
We've
not
only
knocking
played-
St. Catharines. I'm not knocking. I'm
How
just
many times
picking.
have we
I'm just
played
fucking
that?
picking.
Yeah,
St.
I think we
Well,
only
see,
played it
even London.
once.
Who cares? Like we're just gonna pick.
Well,
random city in the US.
if you pick London compared to like a lot of places in the USA, I'd have to be like, yo, that place, it's pretty par. I won't lie. Like I
no,
think,
London's always been good.
yeah,
Like I'm not
like,
gonna. Like,
I can't say. Like
there's a
remember
reason I
last
said
time we
St.
played there with
Catherine's
like
on London,
False
even though
Fire and
St.
all that, bro?
Catherine's
That
shut
fucking
up.
popped off.
London is.
Yeah, that popped off. But
You know what? Getting into specifics, like not reaching on your specifics
yeah,
for
so,
city.
and I apologize for picking out specific
Yeah,
cities.
but
That's my bad there. But I wanted to just like.
I
one
like
of it is
Ohio.
like,
Q lives there.
Buttfuck
I
nowhere
know that.
Ontario, buttfuck nowhere US. What's the difference in that show? What can I expect different from a Cold Shoulder show in those two, those two cities?
So, the biggest thing is, again, this isn't bashing anywhere in Ontario, but
No,
so
no one's bashing anybody.
The sense,
We're all
the
here
sense of
together.
community, especially in a small town. We've had the opportunity to see a lot of America, and to get a little, dark
Let it out.
here.
Let it
There's
out.
a lot of. There's a lot of like I don't want to say poverty, but small town in America is a hard place for some people. So they have this community. So they have these
Look at
people
you,
that
Andy. You're
The
comforted
economy's
him.
bad, man. The
You're
economy's
comforted him, man.
bad.
I'm gonna
It's
get
no
the
one's
best
fault.
Dude, it's
interview
scary
I
out
can
there,
get.
man. It's scary.
It's how I'm gonna get the best interview that I can get. Keep going. Stop talking. He's almost there.
a town in America has a sense of community. They will come out regardless of who's playing. They don't care if it's their friends. They don't care if they never heard of them. They will come out. They will take that $10 in their pocket. They will get into that gig, into that show. They will watch every single band. They won't. They will have work at 8 a.m, but they won't.
yeah.
They won't
They'll
use
still
the
show
excuse.
up.
Oh, I got
They'll see
work.
it all.
They'll walk up to you and they'll talk to you. And the biggest thing for us is not only will they come up and approach you and say, you guys were great or whatever. They'll say, hey, do you have a place to stay? Are you guys hungry? Are you guys thirsty? Is there anything we can do to help
money?
you guys?
You guys fucking have any merch we can buy.
And you just you can't.
Yeah.
You're like, what?
That's
the
a
hell?
that's a
Like,
huge
didn't
sense.
see-
We go to the Midwest. We tour a lot in like the South. It's like the Southern hospitality is
100%,
big
yeah.
up there, man.
back in Cali.
Yeah, it's like not even there. I'd say like some of our best friends are from
Midwest.
like Tulsa.
Also,
Dude, Tulsa, Oklahoma. I have like some of the best people that I've ever met in my whole life. Like Detroit, I know Detroit's not in the Midwest, but oh my god, I was starting naming places.
Yeah.
But when we go,
Maybe places
when we
you
go
can
to,
give
when we go to
give the
Kentucky-
credit where the credit is.
yeah,
due.
but
I
when we
wanna
go to
hear
like
that.
Kentucky, man,
Yeah.
everybody's showing us. I don't think we ever had a bad time in Kentucky.
right?
I don't think we've ever really had a bad. Even our smallest, let's say, worst gigs in America have always ended on a positive note.
Yeah.
And you know what? Even the ones that that's not taken away from Canada. Even
No.
the ones in Canada, but
Not at all.
the
Always,
thing is,
yeah.
if you play, if we play London every week or every month,
Gets stale.
everyone's gonna be like
Oversaturation, man. You don't want that.
I
Get
saw them last
stale.
week, right?
There's
Like,
something to be
or I
said,
saw them last month.
obviously, about the lack of community that you see almost everywhere else where you travel. I mean, I've done it myself. I've gone to Chicago and I get hammered, not even buying a single drink, because the community there is excited enough about your music that they'll actually go up to you,
They wanna
buy
have a
you
good time with
drinks.
you,
They want to
yeah.
actually have a good time.
Straight up.
There is a definite lack for that in this industry.
I'll say.
In the Canadian Toronto
Maybe
side
not
of it.
all of Canada, because again, I can't say anything. I can't say anything bad about the London scene. I can't say anything bad. I honestly, every time we play Sarnia or some shit that pops off.
Those are the
But
biggest bangers that I've ever.
I'm
fucking
just saying,
played. It's like,
Toronto-
Why the fuck are we playing X?
Toronto's a really corporate
Paladin
city,
or whatever the fuck.
so
right?
it's
Back in the
different.
day,
It's different.
Paladin,
Me
yeah.
and
Those
you
were
were
the
talking about
fucking
earlier.
best
It's
shows
really
that I
corporate.
ever played.
It is very corporate. It's like the promoters only care about how much money your band can bring in. So
Exactly.
they're not very interested in getting any new bands.
Exactly. Yeah.
Speaking
Toronto,
speaking all of this, I really want to continue this conversation, but I want to show our audience a little clip of your guys playing live.
Tight.
Cool. Yeah.
Because just to give some context of what we're talking about here, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, we'll give a clip of that, and we'll come back to an interview with Cold Shoulder.
best part about all this? Hang on, where was it?
I was looking at it the whole time.
I remember Lou looked over at me and he was like, Andy, what the fuck is going on right now? And I'm like, Lou, believe in this. Yeah. That was good though. It eases people
I don't know
up,
where it
man.
went.
That was fucking
Right
fun,
there.
though.
Andy, come here. This one you put on? Andy.
All right.
Thank you for that performance, Andy.
Y'all
That was
killed it.
Shania Twain is
sexual-
shit. If you never heard of her,
and
That is
You
a
got some
Canadian
problems in your
treasure
life?
right there.
we're back with Cold Shoulder.
unfortunately, yes.
What?
Boy, no, I'm
Boy, you
kidding.
brought us here.
You know, I love you boys more than anything.
Spoiler alert: Andy's
so-
drunk.
Just the way I
We're
like
not.
them.
No, I'm not. Now you're judging me, and we're gonna have some problems here.
We're all-
Uh-oh.
we're all
And that's
judging
okay.
you all
And that's
the
okay.
time.
But one of the things, so before we went on the break there and showed some of your live performances, we were talking about the U.S. a lot. Now, one of the things that I wanted to kind of follow that up with is like, yeah, the U.S. in terms of being a hardcore band, that's great. It's it's more exposure for you guys. But like, what's good about Toronto? The podcast is about Toronto. What's good about Toronto?
Yeah, what's your
and what's good
favorite
about
thing?
the Ontario scene in general? Like, what's good about us? Like, tell us more about us. Let's go.
I would say like, I'm a bit older now.
Really?
You know,
Do you want to talk about
we don't want
this?
to talk about my age, but you know what? Today's music scene in Ontario, especially Toronto, is great. A lot of new bands. You have for a bit there, we kind of saw a lot of our DIY venues, Siesta Nouveau and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And DB Show, they just shut down, whatever. But then you
That's
have
'cause
you
of the
have
corporate
like
side of shit though.
Yeah.
Like it's not the DIY fault. It's
That's-
like it's such a corporate beast in Toronto.
it is.
That's a Toronto real estate problem. That's not a hardcore problem.
Well, it becomes
It's all
Because we don't
intertwined.
play
It's
Yeah,
all
exactly.
the same- It's
But-
all part
but
of
you-
the same ecosystem
yeah.
at the end
You
of the
have-
day.
I'm wrong. Yeah, I agree
You
with
know?
you 100%.
you have people like Sally Wolf,
killing it.
trying to not
Brandon
trying.
College, Triple Crowns, he's doing great
yeah,
too.
they're keeping the scene going. They're putting on shows all the time.
Spectrasonic.
Bringing up smaller bands, locally from the States, whatever. They're keeping it going, and it's fantastic.
What are some Toronto acts that you look up to, or like some peers that that inspire you in the scene?
I got a few, 100%.
Oh, yeah?
I'll leave a few for you. But
share.
off the top of my head, real quick, I got to give a shout out to my boys in Mayfield, Watering Hole, Strange Ways. Really, really like the dudes in Bar Down as well. They're from Windsor. And I got to give a shout out to my boys in Speaker from Ajax. You guys were talking about your boys from
That's right.
Protest the Hero earlier.
From
Beauties,
Whitby,
man.
yeah.
Dude.
Beauties.
Got to check out the boys in Speaker. There's a new thing, man.
Yeah, no,
New
speakers,
thing, bro.
Speakers.
Yeah.
Yep. Go
Give him
for
a
it.
shout, but I
And
have
keep
more,
going,
but I'll give
keep
Adam
going,
more. I'll
boys.
give
Let's
Adam
go.
a little
Let's
bit.
hear it
I'll
all.
let him.
Let's
Let's see if he-
bust out your tabs on your iPhone or your MacBook there and start typing in all these bands. Let's go for
I was
it.
just
Let's
at a
check
show.
them all out.
I was
Check
just
them
at
all
a
out.
show the other night. Saw this fairly new band called Trauma Model from Kingston. Fantastic.
Yeah, I wish I would.
Mourn. They're from Kitchener, kind of Guelph.
That's the best band in Ontario.
Mourn?
Man.
Mourn?
But don't tell them we said that
Mourn.
because I've told them 1,000 times.
That is the best band in
And
Ontario.
And they laugh at me every
It's
time.
getting recorded now, so fuck. They'll get the hint. I hope. I
They're
hope.
sick.
Hopefully, you guys can talk to them and maybe we can get them on the show as well. No.
Dude,
Shout
that
out to
band is
Mourn.
fantastic.
Get on our
Hint? No?
show.
Mourn from Kitchener.
Discover Sun, fantastic band. Born Without Hope.
Hell yeah.
Premonition, Contempt, Ottawa. Ottawa's on the map. Fantastic
Nice.
Torque
bands.
Down from Toronto.
Yep.
Forgot about those guys. What? Windog.
There's
love
just
those guys
there's
too.
so
There's a
many good
lot.
bands in Ontario right now, and like, it's cool, man. It really is. It really
Yeah,
is.
no,
like,
I'm really
shows are
glad that
awesome.
we're trying to bring back the actual like scene, because like I feel like it's just
died
kind of
out.
like, yeah, it's not that it's dying out. It's just not
It
a
is.
community like it should be for it to
Totally.
be as strong as like we want to have these gigs regularly and like not have it be a struggle for us to get these things together, right?
Mhm.
And I feel that exact same way, man. I feel like a lot of that, like especially around here, is dying way out. And if you go to like
Yeah.
tons of different places around around North America,
It's still thriving.
They have shows like every Thursday night still.
Yeah.
Like, where's name one place in Ontario where that happens? Like,
and
what?
Yeah, and it's crazy because
Well, I guess London, but shit,
Clubs
Jameson
are-
just
No,
goes
London's
there.
always been like, yo, shout out to London,
Yeah.
Ontario though. Like your scene's always been fucking respectable. It's always been like any show that I've ever been to or played in London. It's always been, regardless of who the fuck is playing right now. There's always people there, and they're always supporting. And London's like London, and like I don't know if you can agree to disagree. Hamilton.
No, I disagree, kind of.
Hey, well,
they lost him.
I haven't seen it.
Hamilton lost him. They have the
Oh,
Doors.
no.
The Doors pub is really cool.
It's been a while since
Yeah.
I've been there. So like I mean, like,
Dude, you're
I've
talking.
been- I've been
you're
hearing about-
talking like 2006, buddy. Trust me. I know.
I'm old as
Yeah.
fuck though. I'm old as
Amco
fuck.
days, I feel
I'm
you.
old as fuck, but like
The Twins are doing good shit in Hamilton. They're booking some good house shows.
Like,
There's
have you-
some good
Adrian's
bands.
doing cool
Yeah,
stuff.
Damage
Have you guys-
Control from out there, man. I forgot to give them a shout out. Damage Control.
have you heard of
damn good
Hostage
band.
from Hamilton yet? They're a newer band. They're starting out, dude.
I heard of that.
Oh, I don't know if you've actually listened to them. They're
Yeah.
They're
See, I feel like we
fucking
missed
good.
out a whole bunch of local bands that
they're
are
really,
killing
really
it.
good.
There's
Check
no
out
way you
Hostage.
can hit them
Hostage
all.
905. Check
Yeah, I
them
know. I
out.
feel bad. I feel like we're
100%.
gonna get called
Check
out on this
Hostage.
shit. I'm sorry, boys.
No,
We
but
forgot
what
about
we're
you.
trying to do is just like bring back at least the notoriety of like this community and like build one at least. So
Yeah.
you know, you guys are one of the first few like hardcore bands we have on, but you know, we're gonna have more, and we're gonna build some shows around these sort of.
Oh yeah, I definitely
ideas
say
and
you guys reach out to
communities.
those dudes in like Mourn, 100% They Sick, Speakers Good, Die
Speakers,
Heads,
yeah.
all those
Yeah.
dudes.
Like,
They're from the city.
And if I can have the floor for a second, one of the things that I've always realized while playing in shows, like starting up bands and all that kind of shit, is like cities like like Caledon, Hamilton, Burlington, Waterdown.
Caledon East shows.
Caledon
Who
East, baby.
remembers that
What's
shit?
up, Caledon
Oh my
East? Like,
God.
dude, those shows were infinitely better than any Toronto show
I agree.
that we would play.
Yo, remember the fucking hype in Brampton? You remember that shit?
But
Brampton
why?
shows were
But
all-
Remember
why?
that shit?
Why?
Friends.
Why is that a fucking thing? Why is that
it's
happening?
too corporate, dude. Like
It's the same thing that we were saying earlier about the
Around
bands. Like they have
Toronto.
$10 left in their small.
Yeah.
But
that's
you know what
also
I'm
the
saying when I
only-
say shitty, small, shitty town. Like that's like
That's the
you know what
also
I'm
the
saying. It's
only
nothing
place
offensive.
That
It's-
punk rock kid can go see a punk rock show.
That's it. He
You
can
know
go
what
and
I
he
mean?
can see that show.
Yeah, it's the only
for
place.
$10.
But in Toronto, it's like, yo, you can go see this, but I can go see my favorite band for $10 more the next week, and then I have this other band that I listen to on iTunes coming in.
And I
another
can
2
go to the
weeks.
Drake
You know
Hotel
what I
tonight
mean?
and get
So,
bottle service.
Exactly. So why give a fuck about these local pieces
Do you
of
guys,
shit?
do you guys know people who can
That's
afford
crazy.
bottle service, and do you have their
I
number?
do,
Can
dude.
agree?
I work with people that fucking go to bottle service, and they have
can't
these
do it.
girls coming out with sparklers. Man, I seen the pictures. It's fuck.
It is Friday
I
night.
need this money.
It is Friday night. You know that we. You know
Get
what
me
we can
into
do
these
after.
Yeah, I work with these people, and I can't do that.
That's
That's
fine.
fucked.
It is whatever it is. We'll deal with it. We'll deal with it.
I gotta pipe in one more thing about Ontario.
Okay.
We spoke. I mentioned Sally Wolf.
Best.
Fantastic. She's doing great things for Toronto.
Best
We
person
talked
in
about
Ontario.
Jameson in London. He does great things.
Oh yeah.
Kyle O'Mara does shows in Brampton,
Shouts
which
out
is
to him.
fantastic.
Oh,
I miss
uh,
Brampton
and Kyle
shows, man.
Wappler.
I miss Brampton
Yeah.
shows so much.
Dude, he is doing great things. And this
Good.
and
I hope it gets. That's what we want from doing this podcast.
Kyle
is bringing
Murray.
all of this shit back,
He's
building
going
up
up
not
for
just
it.
local, but like especially the Toronto community. Because
Who else
Toronto's
are we
always
missing
like,
out?
oh, the Foo Fighters are coming to town. Oh, fucking Radiohead's coming to town. It's
it's
not
like
like,
you
yo,
got
Cold
motherfuckers.
Shoulders coming.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
It's about bringing all that shit back.
yeah,
to,
right?
like,
so it'd be sick, but
Kyle Sorry, I'm just touching
It's
back.
fun.
Kyle Wappler and Kitchener Waterloo. That guy is
Yeah.
just.
give
He
him
still
shouts.
continues to bust his ass and
He
put
booked
on
that
great
Hope
shows.
Fest. That Hope Fest in
Hope
September,
Fest.
September 22nd. It is going to pop off. He got fucking single mothers on it,
Exalt.
Exalts on it.
It's gonna
Shout
be
out to
good.
Exalt as well.
Intake a glass
Yeah.
reunion.
Shout out
Yeah,
to Exalt
shout out
as
to
well.
Exalt. Yeah,
Exalt and
another
Counterparts are
Ontario band.
fucking killing it.
Great
band.
Yeah,
Great
Counterparts.
Killing
Oh
it
yeah,
right
we
now.
left out all the big boys, but like No
Yeah.
Warning, Comeback Kid, like all those guys kill
the
it.
Ontario
Yeah.
music scene
Yeah.
is just crazy right now.
Yeah, exactly. Like it kills it when we
Yeah.
have the bands, man. Like
And when
it just that's why it's so sad to see.
All the venues closing.
Yeah, like like
Rest in peace, Club Rocket.
yeah, there's so much places, man. I can't even get into it.
I'm like the only person that
Like,
remembers that fucking
The
venue,
venue
man.
that I used to go to when I was 14, 15 years old is legit been a parking lot for 8 years now.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just miserable to see, man. It's
I
just,
know,
it sucks.
It's a shame, but that's what we're trying to counteract here. You know, with we're trying to make our own waves over here.
So
honestly, just shout out to you, like Cold Shoulder again. You can find them on Instagram, Cold Shoulder
Instagram,
TO.
Bandcamp.
Follow these
even,
guys. They're
Spotify,
fucking ripping up the scene.
We're thinking about starting a MySpace.
Oh, MySpace.
Yeah.
I heard about that.
I heard good things.
Tumblr shit.
I heard good
That'd be
things.
pretty good too, right?
Tumblr.
MySpace.
Tumblr shit.
We haven't got there, but you never know, right?
I think we're gonna do a SoundCloud and give these boys with their rap game a little bit of a run with their money.
So,
a little bit of a run.
Guys, if you don't mind me cutting you off and just totally changing the subject right there, I heard a very, very interesting story about your visit to the border, the U.S. border. Not so long ago. I was told by a friend of mine, and I wanted to just ask you guys about it. So, and let me know if I'm wrong. And let me know if I'm wrong. This is what I've heard, and if not, this is great promotion.
It was crazy. There's so many guns, man. It was nuts.
Fucking shot. Match shots were just firing off.
They're just shooting in the air.
You guys were on. You guys were getting. There's a camera crew that came and confronted you at the Detroit border.
Yeah, through
the
tunnel.
Okay, please tell me more.
Oh,
I'm
shit.
glad you confirmed that. Tell me more. Please go into detail.
Oh, you want to lead it, and I'll lead it.
Yeah, we rolled up as we do in our.
I don't like how they treated Jeff.
In
Honestly,
As we
grilled
do.
the fuck out of the boy, man. He's a sweet kid.
We are in
Classic
our old.
roll-up.
What did Jeff do? What did he do?
Nothing, but he's talented, and they gave him they just basically grilled us.
He owns his own business. He builds
Yeah,
pedals,
he builds
Elmon Tone pedals.
Elmon
Check
Tone
it out.
pedals. Definitely check out Elmon Tone. Best fucking shit around. And yeah, they just grilled him for fucking making guitars, and they were like, "Yo, if you ever were at a show in America and a guitar was broken, would you fix it for money?" And then he's like, "No, like unless it was my friend." And they're like, they just wanted him to say yes.
Yeah.
You know, so he was like, "Oh, you're taking American currency from us Americans." You know?
So we, prior to all that happening, we rolled up and they brought us inside. They're like, "Hey, you go into secondary," and this camera crew just like swarmed us, and we're like, "What the hell is going on? We didn't do it." And they're like,
Wasn't us.
they're like, "Oh, we're filming border security. You guys are, on the show," and we're like, "What?
What?
Like, we watch this show. What's up?" And
Where's my waiver?
so they
There's
like
no waiver. You guys didn't sign
There's no
shit.
shit.
No.
Go
Holy
in your
fuck.
face,
Okay,
eh?
go on.
And they were just like, there was
Came
like
to
this
our
big,
border, this is
there's this
America.
big thing that says
Shit.
like, they are filming the
They
TV
don't
show
know
here
where
on
to
the
see.
wall. You're subject to being filmed. So we're just like, whatever, we're chilling. This camera crew shows up, and they just ask us questions. Unfortunately for TV's sake, we didn't have anything exciting to make good TV out of, I guess I'd say.
But,
It potentially has not aired though.
It has not,
Potentially.
yeah, it has not aired yet.
So there's a chance that you guys can get your big chance.
I feel
on
like
Border
it's-
Security,
there was
the
there
TV
was
show.
some really sketchy people there that day that I
Yeah.
feel like they're gonna be on TV
Like-
more
like-
than us.
Like, oh, wow, these guys deserve this.
Oh, they were like,
this is their time.
we were sitting there being like, okay, they just filmed us. Why aren't they filming those fucking people over
That's
there?
the thing that I realized. It's like, yo, like
I
the
heard
people
that one
that are-
guy say no though. That really sketchy guy. Remember he came in.
Yeah,
right
that
after?
really
He's
sketchy. He's like, no,
nah,
you can't film
cannot
me.
film me. I want to leave.
Yeah, it was wild.
That's the thing. Like even the people,
I wish I said no, dude. We were there forever.
I've watched that fucking show, and these people have done some fucked up shit. And the fact that if they come up and they're like, "Can we like?" There's a camera crew on you. It's like, deny it. What the fuck is wrong with you? Why are you?
Yeah.
What?
Dude, we were hype, man. We watched that
Yeah,
show.
dude, you can't. You telling me if a whole bunch of cameras roll up and you cross the border, you're not gonna be like, yeah, film this.
Lie.
motherfucker.
Just lie longer. Lou.
Nah.
Lou,
You're
gotta-
telling me if
The
Days of Our
pressure.
Lives
The
walked up
pressure
to
of
you
the
and said we want
moment,
to
right?
film
How
you'd
can
say
you
no?
compete
I'd say-
against
I had
that?
to do it. I had to do
Exactly.
Tell me what
Like
you
I
want.
mentioned earlier, I wanted to do a round of this conversations just before we run out of time here. Just pull out one card, and there's a question about music, and then you're both gonna give an answer to it.
He said pull out, by the way.
Pull out quickly.
All right.
Quickly, yeah. Quickly.
What is your favorite song from a movie or soundtrack? Oh, Toy Story, 100%.
Oh,
Fucking-
you
you got a friend in me.
That's easy.
100%. That's an
That's
easy
really good.
fucking one, dude. I don't know who
fucking
fucking
knew it.
That's
Give
my
it- I
knew it
shit.
before the question was even
That
asked.
is my shit.
Okay,
I gotta say the entire American Pie soundtrack.
That's pretty good.
I gotta
Have you guys
say.
ever listened to the Godzilla soundtrack?
Yes.
No.
Dude, with Rage Against the Machine, No Shelter, that's
Yeah.
when they debuted that song. That's fucking
Damn,
And,
that's actually
Puff
hype as
Daddy.
fuck. That's a hit.
Puff Daddy did the Zeppelin.
with me.
The Zeppelin.
Dude, that's
I
a
remember
sick
that.
release right there.
Cashmere,
Yo, we're
come with me.
we're
That's-
releasing a song during a Godzilla fucking movie, bitch.
Yeah.
Dude, that's sick.
Thanks for coming, guys.
Oh,
honestly,
dude,
but that's
come back anytime, man. That was sick.
definitely.
Thank you very, very
Yeah,
much for
thank
this.
you.
This has been a great interview, guys. Love you.
That's-
Thank you very much.
that's-
Cold Shoulder,
Thanks so much
Toronto
for having us.
Hardcore.
Yeah.
Gotta love it. Thank you.
That's all the time we have. Check in next week. I'm Lou Vasquez,
I am Andy Dinner.
and this is
Still
the
my
audio
name.
station.
It's the audio station. That's
Keeping
what
you
we do.
updated with all things Toronto and music related. See you next week.
Oh.
There we go.